Welcome back, Raider Nation. It's Joseph for Zenny62. So a few days ago, I reported in one of my vlogs that the Raiders would be moving their training camp to Allegiant Stadium, at least for a scrimmage game, and they did that this morning. So around 10 to 10:30, they started rolling in their buses. They did come down Russell Road, and they made a right onto Polaris. And just to give you a perspective, of those of you that are out of town that don't know the area, or those of you that live in Las Vegas, it's right across the street from the Chevron gas station off of Russell, that street Polaris. So they made it right onto there. Now, what was interesting for me, at least, is I didn't realize since the time that I had been there, they actually made a driveway that goes into the field tray area off of Polaris. And so they went down that driveway, went down the slope of the driveway into the field tray area and under the stadium. So the buses drove all the way in. And I do have pictures of the players getting out of the buses into the stadium, and I'll show you that a little bit later. Now, what I talked about initially and what I think the purpose of doing this is for a few different reasons. One of them is that the majority of the players, as well as the majority of the coaches, for the exception of a few on both sides, had been to the stadium. And so one of the things they wanted to do was have them get acclimated to the new stadium, so they know where the locker room's at, where they know the training facilities at, or maybe the weight rooms, or whatever, the PT rooms, physical therapy rooms inside the stadium. But being a new $2 billion stadium, they hadn't been there. They hadn't looked at the facility, look at the Al Davis torch on the north side that faces the casinos, where the lanai doors are at. So it gave them an opportunity to check out the stadium, to kind of just soak it all in. And so that's one of the reasons. But the second reason, since the NFL decided to eliminate all preseason games, they weren't able to match up or play other teams and go through maybe game day scenarios. So this was the purpose for that. Now, the field tray had been there for a few days. They didn't paint on the Raider logos on each side of the field. Basically, it's just a regular field. Think of it as a training camp field. But the difference is that they rolled in the grass. As we know, underneath the grass field tray, there is a supplemental tray, so to speak, of a synthetic turf. And that's just in case of emergencies where they need a backup field for whatever reasons. And so one of the things that I'll show you as we move on from this video is I'll show you some of the pictures that are within the stadium, and I'll talk you through them, or maybe give you my input on what I saw. But just to go over and reiterate what I said, was the Raiders did play at Allegiant Stadium today. One thing that I didn't mention, which I'll mention now, is that those of you who are season ticket holders, or those of you who don't know, the season ticket holders were given a link so they can link into the feed of the stadium so they can watch the Raiders go through their scrimmage game. To what extent, I'm not sure, because I know everybody will have a tendency to either put it on social media. So I don't know if that link was restrictive of what they could and could not see, but that was an added benefit. If you were a season ticket holder, you're able to see some live coverage of the scrimmage game. So let's take a look at some of the pictures that I do have. The first picture you see here is from the north side facing south, and that's supposed to be the new black hole area. Now this picture here is from the press booth, as well as this one. It's just a clearer picture. It gives you an idea of what the whole field looks like. Now this is the interesting enough, let me pause it here. This wasn't initially planned in the original inception of the stadium. This is called the End Zone Club, which is basically a club level version of a suite. And so though the eye point of view is not great, you do get all the amenities in the end club seat zone, and that's on the north side. Now this is a picture obviously of Al Davis torch on the north side facing the casinos. And here's a picture of a few players. And you do see Derek Carr here waiting for a ball to be tossed to him. And a few other players out in the field kind of enjoying. As you see, you have someone taking photographs. And this is what I wanted to talk about. I'm going to have to pause it again here. So you see this hanging from the roof of the stadium. The best way I could describe it, looks like a bunch of strings, and obviously this is from the point of view of the upper level of the stadium, which most people would consider the cheap seats. So that kind of bothers me, at least from that angle, because it just looks messy. And if you're sitting on top of the top level of the stadium, do you really want to be distracted by what I'm calling as strings falling down? I'm sure they have a more specific name to that, but aesthetically it doesn't look very pleasing. And so that's something I don't like from the new stadium. But in all fairness, here's another picture. This next picture is going to show you that same roof from a press box position. This is where the press box is at, and you could still notice the strings coming down from the roof. Admittedly, I'm sure that's the last thing you'd be looking at when you're at the stadium, but still, that doesn't look very appealing, and I don't know if there's something that could be done about that, but I just wanted to point that out to you. And again, this is something that is interesting because this is from on the field. So from this perspective, obviously, no one's going to be noticing the strings, or as I'm calling them, the strings from the ceiling hanging down. So if you're in the first 3 levels of the stadium, that's not going to be an issue. But having seen the pictures from the press box and the upper levels of the stadium, that seems to be the issue. But from this point of view, from the end zone club level point of view, you don't see any of these falling strings coming down. Now, before I end the vlog, I want to go back to the torch, which is on the north side where the lanai doors are at that face the casino. As you can see, what a large and very large space that occupies the stadium, because just look at the perspective point of view, you see people there. And so you can see that's going to be such a poignant place in the stadium where people are going to take photographs, lounge around, and look how huge that Al Davis torch is. That is a huge torch. It's going to look extraordinary at night when they open the doors and that torch is lit. So that's actually a beautiful torch, but I'm more impressed about the surrounding areas that will give an opportunity for fans and everyone to walk around, lounge around, and get actually a different perspective of the field. And that's open to everyone. You don't need a special pass or a special ticket to get there. So that's open to the entire fan base. So that'll do it for my coverage. Don't forget to keep it here. And on Zenny62, don't forget to like and subscribe. And feel free to share it on social media and all your Raider friends. Take care, and we'll see you again soon.